Okay, everyone. Hi, welcome to the TimePro sprint review for sprint 303. Today we have our product owner Yuli and stakeholder Adam, and then the TimePro team. So let's jump into it and we'll show you what we've gone through. If I get the right email, there we are. So starting off, this was a 5-day sprint, and we had the two goals. First of which was to fix up the display tables on the client details page, which is now showing the right calculations for all of the invoices.
Was that to do with credit notes?
Yes, yeah, and how credit notes were being displayed. Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
Cool. And then the other one there was to progress a little bit further with the API development for Ingram Micro, which we were able to do, which has been great. During this sprint, we've had a little bit of a revelation, I suppose. We're realizing that there's actually a whole lot less in the work than we originally thought. An MVP is a whole lot more achievable. I think the original spec review overcomplicated what needed to be done. So we can step through that another time.
Adam, just to give you a real zoomed out version of that. Sorry?
Toby, can you just look at the two crosses at the top?
Gotcha. Yep. So suggested timesheet usage, I put those there so it's a little bit clear. We actually had a little bit of a decrease in the amount of suggested timesheet usage. So we've had an increase of users. So the percentage dropped slightly, but the actual active adoption rate has dropped by 1%. And I mean, this could be seasonal.
Yeah, but is anyone trying to get the people that aren't using it to use it? Is there any evangelism in the team?
There hasn't been on my side of things. Okay. Sam or JK, have you guys?
No. Can we just have you take on 2 people, like assign 2 people that are on the list, and JK 2 people and Sam 2 people, and just try to get this up?
Sure. Yeah, we can see what we can do.
Easiest way to track that, let's make a PBI, chuck it in the next sprint, call it a 1.
Great idea.
Yeah, and previous sprint, I managed to fix some CRM issues that should make the suggested timesheet more accurate for people. But it really depends on what people are currently working on, whether it's going to be more helpful or not than before. Like, for instance, Gordon had issues with his appointments, and as far as I know now, actually it works.
Cool. Would Sam or JK, would you guys mind jotting that down, and I'll create a PBI after the summary? In terms of who worked on it, it was mainly us through this sprint. We had a little bit of Jeffrey, but we've lost him now to client work. Sprint backlog. We can see that a majority of these have actually been complete, and then the outstanding 2 have both been only marked to 1 effort because they've been PRs and they've been reviewed. So we're just waiting on deployment for this afternoon. As you can see, there's a bunch of Ingram Micro work that we've been able to do. So we're well and truly on our way to getting an MVP in production, hopefully within the next couple of sprints. The 8, JK, would you mind touching on that? I think it was something to do with the 0.
Yeah, that one was to verify. That was the issue that we had with 0. Probably the effort should be put down to 1. It was one of the related issues that we had when 0 wasn't returning us the right information. And this one was one of the issues that got resolved by it.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I sent an email to Stefan saying that this seemed to be now fixed.
Is there any other PBIs, Adam or Yuli?
The Ingram Micro ones, I think, are not worth going through individually. It's more of a let's get to the MVP and then talk about it kind of thing.
Yeah, I would agree. Any others that you'd like to hear about specifically then, out of the bugs?
Yeah, I guess the product tooltip.
Product
Sam?
tooltip. Yeah.
Sam, can you tell me what that was?
Sure. So it was just a small UI change where when you added a new invoice item to invoices, we weren't able to tell the difference between titles that were long and had copied text.
I remember. Yeah. So in the drop down, it's so if you mouse over it now, it'll give you the full content of that rather than being limited by the width of the drop down.
Yeah, for sure. And we're able to reuse tooltip logic we'd used elsewhere, so it was a really neat fix.
All right, beautiful. Question: when you completed that PDI, did you put a screenshot into the discussion or anything?
I can't remember. I can check that now.
I would get into that habit.
Sure.
If you didn't
Sounds
already.
good.
Yeah,
There would have been
when we see it get closed.
There would have been a screenshot as part of the PR, but yeah, I'm not sure if Sam added it into the other part.
Okay. Yeah, get used to doing that if you can, man. It's like sending a done email for a PBI. Just putting a screenshot into the discussion when you close it helps a lot.
Alrighty.
Great, will do.
We're happy to move on from that.
Yeah, thanks.
No worries. Sprint burn down. So at the end of it, we're actually looking pretty good, considering we just got our deployments in today. That's why we have this steep slope at the end. Moving through code coverage, nothing to call out. It's all the same as last week for all of those testing metrics. Pipeline health and duration. So we've got the two screenshots here, one for the front end and one for the back end, now that these have been split. They're both saying it is about 30 minutes. We're unsure exactly where they're pulling this from. We believe it could be because this metric is including wait time. So if we've got two builds back to back, it might be including that time, because at most the back end, for example, the back end pipeline's only taking 15 minutes, which is great. Any questions on that?
No, all good.
Cool. Deployments, 2 successful deployments this morning. Application health, nothing really to call out. We're up a couple of errors from last week, but it's all still the 404s that we're getting from the bot. Moving on to the product roadmap.
Sorry, just on that dependency graph. The dependency graph, I'm seeing red lines on the identity stuff. Is that correct?
Let me zoom in a bit on that.
Yeah, there was an SSL cert issue for identity, so it went offline for an hour or two on Friday.
Thank you. All right, no worries.
Cool. Okay, product roadmap. The only real thing that we need to look at for these two is the reoccurring invoices. The one up the top, we've progressed a little bit in. Although this is showing that we've dropped down 1%, it's because we've had a big increase in the number of backlog items. When we figured out that we could do the MVP a lot easier, we created a new set and then just separated them under different features, but they're still under the same epic. So hopefully we'll have the MVP soon. And then if we decide that we still want to go ahead with the additional features that were planned in the original spec review, we can go ahead and work through those.
Sorry, hang on. Am I reading this wrong? It looks like there's a lot more effort left to go on that Ingram Micro one.
Because we've now got 2 features chucked under the same epic. So instead of removing all the old ones from the epic and just going with the small MVP, we've got the MVP and the, I guess, second iteration all under the same epic.
But we've still got all those previous ones are still there. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if we were to look at this on the feature scope, I suppose you would see that MVP is a lot further along than the V2. Yeah.
Yeah, and for context, when the original spec review was made, we still didn't know how everything will work. So the spec review had to be kind of pessimistic in a couple of areas, which bumped the efforts because we did not know whether
Sure.
we'll have to implement all of that or not. And it's only a month or two after the spec review that we got the full picture. But we weren't able to put it into, put everything together in context until like last week.
Okay, cool.
Alrighty, R&D, Ingram Micro, and also a bit of a look into the feature toggling, which has been part of the Ingram Micro work. We've tried to find a more universal way of implementing that. Sprint Retro, we've had some great progress. The Ingram Micro integration is coming along, and it's much easier than we thought. And also considering we had a completely different idea of the way this integration was heading at the start of the sprint, it was great to see that the team was able to pivot to suit the new direction. With the feature toggle that JK has added in, this will allow a lot better beta testing of not only Ingram Micro, but also Easy Leave, other features throughout the application. We're going to be able to establish either a tenant level or a user level scope for whether a feature is enabled. So, for example, if we decide to roll out Ingram Micro, we might just want Yuli starting off using it. We can add it so only Yuli can see it in production, or we can do it to a group of people. So it's pretty flexible in that respect.
Nice.
What didn't go so well, sprint items were swapped mid-sprint, which wasn't ideal. And also I didn't get around to having that refinement meeting with you. Which is completely my fault. Just
do we have
other stuff.
Something in the calendar? I can't remember.
We don't. No, I haven't added it in.
Yeah. All right.
So
can you put with product owner in brackets Yuli so people don't think it's me?
Sure. Okay. Did anyone else have anything to recommend here? I guess, Adam, you had the comment about improve suggested timesheet uptake.
Yes, please.
It's great to see both sprint goals hit.
Both sprint goals.
And I know you already mentioned it, but I guess I'll plus one the fact that the MVP is going to be easy to get to. That was feeling like a slog. So having a closer goalpost is nice. Can I ask, JK, you were getting pretty stressed out a week or so ago with all the fires happening at once. Are things back under control, or how are we going?
It's much better now, yeah.
Okay, good.
Cool. Alrighty, well, if we're happy with that, I will jump over to planning.
Nice. Can we add that evangelizing PBI, Sam, to the sprint if you haven't already?
Yeah, I've just created the PBI and it's in the comments, but yeah, we can add that to this, I think.
Thank you, Gami.
I'll add it to the email before I send it out. So this is a 5-day sprint. 304 is the sprint number, and we've got the goal to actually create an invoice through Ingram Micro. So this could be a little bit of ambitious, but we've got 2 PBIs. Yeah, the MVP is going to be a lot closer than we thought. So fingers crossed.
Michael will be happy.
This is, I should probably say, just so we can actually test it completely before we enable it for production. But yeah, we're getting pretty close, so it's great.
Nice.
Yeah. Maybe a more accurate description would be a non-production ready MVP.
Sure. Jean was screaming out for something last week. Is that in the sprint?
Yes. So down the bottom there was extending the project drop down to show 10 entries instead of 5. That was something he was wanting. This is a pretty simple UI change. So yeah, we've added it in.
What about that CRM link to CRM instead of edit pages? So
I can step into the PBI. CRM. I think
Oh,
it's
so you get the client page. Yeah. Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Cool. It was just we needed to fill in a little bit of time, like a little bit of effort, and we've already got a fair few Ingram Micro stuff, and we didn't want some of the PBIs to be blocked by others that are already in the sprint. So,
Right.
all right. Is there any there you'd like me to touch on specifically, or are we happy with them?
Pretty fine. TimePro app. Footer, keep anchored to the bottom of the page. What's that?
So this is one of the PBIs Betty created when she did the TimePro audit. There's a fair few pages where we might have only a little bit of content on the page. So the footer is pulled up like sort of midway through the page. We just want to make sure it's sitting at the bottom of the page at all times.
Right. And it says TimePro
not-
app as to differentiate between that and the website, does it?
Yes. Yeah, because she created a bunch of TimePro. Yeah.
Yeah, got it. Okay, cool. Sounds good.
Perfect. Happy with those?
2 things, Sam, with the PBI that you've just created with the suggested timesheets, you need to put the current stats in. Get an image of what you're looking at so that people can go and look at it again. And the other thing is, Toby, how many PBIs from Betty have you completed?
I think there's only been one, I believe, which was fixing up the font sizing because there was a couple of
Oh yeah, when Jeffrey made some of the fonts too big.
Yeah, so I think it's just been that one. So we haven't made a whole lot of progress on that.
And how many more are there to go to complete all her work?
There are a fair few, so I'll show you just quickly. She created these ones here for the promotional website, and then in
8
terms
for the website, is it?
That is what are we?
Yeah.
7. And then these ones here are the ones for the actual TimePro app. They 8 there.
Right. So would you prefer her helping you complete those, or are you good enough to complete them yourself?
I think we can complete them. I think some of them will be code changes. I'm not sure if Betty does that sort of thing, like code changes. I mean, that would be awesome. But I think just at the moment, our priorities are more so focused on the single epic for getting Ingram Micro set up. Especially like I'm going on client work shortly for a fair few months, so it might just be JK and Sam for a while.
Okay.
Yeah, and we also have a lot of high-level tickets like Azure and this GitHub and a lot of other epics. And if she comes along, we can more focus on these big epics.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So it would be better if she finished the TimePro stuff.
As in herself, rather than these guys doing it.
Yeah. Yes, that's which is kind of what I said to her in the beginning.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I guess there's she's got some conflicting priorities because there's some other stuff I desperately wanted to do.
Okay. All right. Fair enough.
Okay. Cool. Great. Thanks, everyone.
Awesome.
Once it's finished, I'll upload it to the TimePro YouTube channel so everyone can watch it at their own time. Great. Thanks, everyone. I'll chat to you next week.